Welcome back to the Gwalia Gain Line, your only podcast for all things Gwalia Lightning. I'm Sian, and I am joined, I'm delighted to say, by my sister Sarah. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, everyone. Lovely to see you all.
Coming up today, we'll be taking a look at Sunday's tough 6-round loss against Wolfhounds. Yes, we have to discuss it. We will look at this match and also where that leaves us as a team.
So it was a pretty tough afternoon for Gwalia Lightning in the end, going down to 44-10 to a very strong Wolfhound side. But we want to sort of reassure everyone, this episode is about the context of the game, the learning we can take from it, and all of that kind of stuff, really, not to panic. I think we said in a previous podcast, as a Wales fan, we treasure every win because we know they don't happen every single time. And there are definitely things that we can take from this game. So I wondered, Sian, if you could remind us where Gwalia have got to in the competition so far, now that round 6 is complete.
Yep, so as you said, round 6, don't forget that after the 10 rounds, the top 4 go into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
We know already now that Wolfhounds are definitely in that top 4. Let's face it, they're likely to be first.
Mm-hmm.
It's still all to play for Gwalia. We may have lost on Sunday, but it is really still there for us. This week, just gone, it's just been announced that the final will be in Edinburgh Hive, on the 28th of March, which is quite exciting. And that is what they should be aiming for still, I think.
Definitely. It's still really exciting. So as I understand it, there'll be 2 semi-finals. Top versus 4th will be the first semi-final. And then the second semi-final is 2nd versus 3rd. So maybe one is quite hard for Gwalia now, but we should be really aiming for that to be in that second versus 3rd playoff.
Absolutely, they can still definitely make that, and I think that's what they really need to be focused on.
100%.
And we are now. I think on the weekend it was Wolfhounds versus Gwalia was 1st versus 2nd. This isn't sort of the bottom of the team kind of playing the top team. We were this 1st versus 2nd, so yeah, we're down to 3rd now, but yeah, still all to play for.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many times can I say still all to play for?
I was saying that. You'd be criticising me for using all the football cliches.
I'm full of all the cliches. I am full of them. I've been watching sport for long enough now.
Well, I suppose one of those sporting cliches is that losses tell you a bit more about yourselves, where you're at, what you can learn, what you need to change, how you grow and develop, more than nice, easy, cushy wins all the time. And perhaps it wouldn't be much of a competition if we just rolled up and teams rolled over every time. Because there's loads to learn from the game on Sunday, which I'm really keen for us to get into. And I think there'll be stuff that Gwalia can definitely work on and improve going forward.
Oh, yep, totally agree. This was always going to be our biggest test. Away to Wolfhounds, they haven't lost, I don't think, ever in the Celtic Challenge, which is insane. That's just really good. And, these kind of games are what test you. And they tell you something that wins don't.
Absolutely. Are we going to dive into the first half then?
Yes. Sorry, I apologise for my grimacing. It wasn't that bad.
I'll dive in. I guess the first couple of minutes were perhaps not ones we'll want to rewatch endlessly. It was a pretty tough first 10 minutes or so, wasn't it? We conceded 3 tries in the first 7 minutes, I think it was. And that always put Gwalia then very much on the back foot against what is, a really, really quality side. On the rewatch afterwards, I was like, oh gosh, even though I knew it was coming, it was still quite a tough beginning. Real intensity from Wolfhounds. They really came out of the blocks really, really hard, and it was their backs firepower for me. I thought was really, really impressive what they managed to achieve there, and thank goodness that the try rate dried up shortly after that. But more on that later. What did you think, Sian?
To be honest, it wasn't even 7 minutes. I think they had already scored, and it was still under 7 minutes. It was a poor start. You can't give away tries like that to a team like Wolfhounds. Mm-hmm. To be 15 points down by 7 minutes is not good. However, I kind of feel like we gave them away in a sense. They weren't tries out of like sheer brilliance.
No.
So it's frustrating. It is frustrating. Those were the worst minutes of the whole game, definitely.
Oh, 100%.
It was, yeah, I don't know. We are a little bit slow out the blocks when we play these games. The first half, we do tend to ramp up better in the second half. But yeah, that was very disappointing, I think, to be 3 tries down. However, I also think after the 10 minutes, we came back into the game. We didn't score, but we had plenty of possession and we had plenty of territory. They
I think
pulled it around a little bit for the next sort of 20 minutes.
No, I think that's right, because after the try at 7 minutes, we had a penalty a few minutes later. And then the next try was at about 28 minutes. So there's a good passage of play after that, where we had a fair degree of possession. I think Gwalia really kind of settled down, I guess you might say, after that point, and started putting some phases together. But my God, it was hard fought. It was really physical from both sides, wasn't it? Crunching tackle on both sides. Wolfhounds up really, really quickly. There's very little time and space to think, let alone pass. And perhaps, that was something that we struggled to adjust to for a little bit. It was just that step up, I think.
Yeah, we said it last week that Wolfhounds, I never forget when we saw them play at Ystrad Mynach, because they did blow me away with how quick their rucking is and how effective they are at the breakdown and how good their backs were. So that's kind of exactly what happened again on Sunday. They get that really quick ball and their backs are incredibly dangerous. We had plenty of that possession in sort of after we conceded those first 3 tries, but we just couldn't really do anything with it. And I think they were really successful in slowing that ball down. Gwalia's game thrives on fast ball, quick ruck ball, the offloads. Wolfhounds just snaffled that all out. They'd done their homework and they just knew what to do. And as soon as our ball was slowed down, it's 10 times as hard to do anything with it. So they really, they were extremely effective in defending against us, basically.
They must have amazing defense coaches, because you could really see that come through. And I said, you could tell the research as well, straight on players, really, really quickly, who are our sort of known attacking forces. And a few crunching tackles, wasn't there? It was really fierce out there. And I felt Wolfhounds showed Gwalia a lot of respect, really, in the sense of just how seriously they took it. They put out their best squad. They were really relentless. And whilst I can't say I enjoyed it much as a Gwalia fan, you have to be sort of impressed with the professionalism and the kind of effort and consistency that they achieved. So hats off to them. I guess there were a few knock-ons and a few line-outs didn't quite go right for Wolfhounds. Maybe that was more in the second half, actually. Not a perfect performance on them, but it was pretty commanding.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I don't know how much of that was them taking the foot off the pedal a little bit, but they did make a few more handling errors than I would have expected them to.
Yes.
But yeah, it's possible that because they've made substitutions, what it's like, we've said it before, with the momentum, the game's already won, etc., etc. I do think Gwalia, we did have a couple of chances though, and we kind of didn't take them. And we knew that, again, we've said it before, you've got to take those chances against a team like Wolfhounds. You can probably get away with it with some of the other teams, but not Wolfhounds. And it seems like it's the opposite with Wolfhounds. You give them a little tiny little micro size space and they take a friggin' mile.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think we had quite a lot of possession. I don't think we had a lot in their 22.
No, we didn't. So the territory was decent probably overall, but in the first half, although we did have all that possession, we weren't really in the danger zones, as we like to call it, which is a shame.
Yep.
But yeah, the first half was a hard watch, definitely.
Yes.
I was a bit concerned at halftime. I was like, I definitely thought that Wolfhounds would score tries against us. I just didn't think it would be that many. And I thought that we would score a few tries, to be honest.
I think my prediction was quite high scoring for both sides. Well, I was partially right, but more on that.
I thought it was going to be closer than that, though. I did think it was going to be closer. I was completely wrong on that. But Gwalia need to be in with a shout at halftime. And we were so far behind at halftime, obviously, you knew. But I was just praying that Gwalia would do their second half thing.
Yes.
That was what I was really hoping. And I think, to be honest, we'll talk about that in a second. But I think they kind of did. I think we did improve in the second half.
Yes, which again shows great fitness, but we'll talk more on that later. I think that maybe this is my controversial take, but okay, 3 tries is a lot to ship in less than 10 minutes at the beginning, but things had settled down somewhat. And I think perhaps the killer blow was the try at around 30 minutes, or so 28, 30 minutes, something like that. That had that by some miracle. Well, actually, there's a passage of play where, you know, we might have done something. Had that been a try in our favour rather than a try to Wolfhounds, that was probably the turning point, which made it a game too far, if you like. And of course, that's their bonus point to 4 tries. So the game was conceded really by that. By that.
Yeah, I agree. And Palmer had a sniff of a chance in the corner.
Yes.
Just before that. So it's those little chances. When they're gone, they're gone. And unfortunately, we couldn't capitalise on that. And then, Wolfhounds are just a machine.
Absolutely, they were putting a lot of pressure on our halfbacks. So you know they were both exposed. Even though Bryony, number 8, had such a huge effort and was mentioned a lot in dispatches in the first half.
I thought Bryony. I mean, I'm biased, aren't I? Because she's my favourite player. But Bryony had an outstanding first half, I thought.
Yep. She did.
It was tough on, like I said earlier, when the line speeds that quick and when they're slowing the ball down that like successfully, it's so difficult for the halfbacks. I did feel sorry for Karis Hughes. You're up against it so hard. It's tough.
And knowing what kicking firepower you've got on the other side and the strength in the back line generally. So I guess for me, forwards were pretty competitive, both sides, giving no quarter, should we say. Really, really tough, fierce forward play. Maybe it was the backs that was the difference, I think.
I think that might be fair. I think 1 or 2 areas they might have had the upper hand in the forwards. I think there was a couple of times when we had a rolling more. I think it was from a penalty and they managed to steal the ball off us, which was wild to me. That was just insane skill. You know, that's just them being insane. But no, I think we stood up to them pretty well in the forwards.
I thought it was interesting that in the comms, I think after the game, they said they had a point to prove after the Glasgow match. Firstly, they put out their best side against Gwalia, which again shows respect, but also in their firepower. And they had a point to prove that they could really put on that committed full 80-minute performance. They felt there was a lot right, that meant a lot to Wolfhounds, really, the way they played.
Yes, for context, I think they conceded a few tries, didn't they? Again, was it Glasgow they played before? There was a match anyway. They conceded a few tries, and everyone was a bit like, "Ooh, they've conceded."
There was I think over 25-point score difference in the end, but I think Glasgow scored 2-3 tries right at the end, which makes the scoreline look quite respectable in all sorts of ways. It might even have got a losing bonus point, was certainly close. And maybe that's what has shaken up Wolfhounds and spurred them on to better performance this week. Sadly for us,
they're a very professional side, and they would have been really annoyed by conceding any tries. So to concede, was it 3 or whatever against Glasgow? Yeah, absolutely. I think we probably came up on the bad side of that. It was interesting their team selection, because I was keeping a little eye on their team sheets, and they didn't pick their strongest side against Glasgow. And I did think at the time, are they saving their players for us? Are they saving for Gwalia? They definitely picked a really strong, strongest team available against us. But like you said, it showed. I think they were just taking us really seriously.
Oh, I think they were.
I was hoping they wouldn't, though, Sarah. I was hoping they'd be like, "Yeah, we're gonna win easy. We'll pick our granny side."
What, they'd forget to turn up and forfeit the side and then get a 5-point win. I like the world you're living in. Sadly, that was not what happened.
I know. I do live in a bit of a dream world, to be fair. No, fair play to them.
I think just to mention briefly in dispatches, Jenny Scoble, or Jenny Scones, as she's known to this podcast, had a good game. It's a shame to see her go off just before half time with what might be a knee injury. I saw her walking around later. It didn't look too dreadful, so I'm hoping nothing too serious. But get well soon, Jenny. We need you back.
I thought she was having a really good game.
Well,
she was around in the loose a lot. putting some good drives at the rucks. She was defending well. The scrums were going really well. The scrums were really solid. Yeah. I was like, no! She's just come back from injury. It's so frustrating. Yeah, hopefully she's okay because,
Gwalia need her and Wales need her.
Well, it's just give her a break. It's just so annoying when you get injury after injury. Says someone who gets injury after injury. It's very annoying.
It might not be serious. We'd love to know more, but we're sadly we don't know more. So we very much hope.
No, because there's never any comms on anything. So, should we look to the second half?
Yes, why not? We shall cheer ourselves up just a little bit. How did the second half shift go for you? What were your thoughts? What was it like to watch that?
The second half was better. I thought that we were improved. I think the speed of our ball was a bit quicker, and we started to play a bit. I think Lily Hawkins came on at half time. I can't remember if she came on dead on at half. I thought I'm really impressed by Lily Hawkins because she was on it within like a second and she was putting in some massive hits. She's playing up against one of the closest sides you can get to playing an international side. In Wolfhounds.
Let's not forget, the Ireland international side held England for 20 minutes. I have a feeling in that ground actually, didn't they? I
think they did, yeah. They are a good side. Ireland are a good side. You know, and she's fearless. She's just so fearless. To be fair, Gwalia are quite a fearless team. But it's just really nice to see a young player come up and just play and not care at all about who they're playing in the sense of getting scared. Yeah, I love that. So I think she did. I think the ball speeds up a bit, got a bit more success at the rucks.
Yes.
But yeah, they're just so hard to break down, the Wolfhounds.
They
just absorbed it all. But I think we did defend better in the second half.
I think we did. I think there was a slight sense of shell shock's a strong term. So perhaps I'll just say slight sense of surprise early on in the game. And it was almost like watching a team work out how to start to defend it more effectively. And it was starting to build. And if you look at it, there was a try shortly before halftime. But then the next try comes at, I reckon, about 63 minutes, certainly in the final quarter.
Yeah.
So the whole 20 minutes, where we had most of the possession, and there wasn't too many. They didn't really have many scoring chances. So quite a strange game, isn't it? You know,
it was a really weird game. I got to say, I didn't really enjoy watching it back. I enjoyed bits of it. Actually, I did enjoy bits of it. That's a complete lie. I enjoyed some people's performances, which we'll probably go on in a little bit. But yeah, it was weird because we did have, I felt like in the second half, we did actually have quite a lot of possession. And Wolfhounds seemed to make more mistakes.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
It was a little bit strange. Again, though, as we said earlier, it might have been they just sort of, I know they're really professional, but they might have been a little bit more comfortable because they were so far ahead.
Yes. And they were starting to rotate and, you know, one can see why. I wondered if, I was hugely impressed by Maggie Boylan, who was instrumental in the first couple of tries and looked pretty impressive. So fast, so unstoppable, great rugby brain. Wow. She went off injured at sort of 55 minutes. And I wondered if she, not that they were rubbish when she went off, by no means, but I wondered if she was a bit of secret sauce that was then missing in the final parts of the game. I was super impressed with her.
I thought she was really good. Yeah, I was really impressed with her. Yeah, no, it's a fair point. I didn't think about that. I didn't realise she'd come off so early, actually.
Yeah.
They've got so many good players, though. Like, they just, like, I really like Stacey Flood. I think she's a really good player.
Yeah.
They just a bit effortless, aren't they? They just kind of have lots of time on the ball.
They were, and I think that they were sort of relentless in their defence. They're so physical at the breakdown, and our players were still doing well. Molly was still doing what she's been doing in every match so far, just being the first person there and marauding around the pitch as she does, and it's still impressive. It was so hard to create any space. Likewise, Bryony, and she came off, I think, at about 60 minutes too.
Yeah,
but she put in an absolutely huge shift.
Allo did as well.
Yes.
And Tilly.
Yes. Even though I think Allo they were all heavily marked, they're all known, but even though they were all doing that, in fact, for me, I think Tilly was really impressive. More on her later. Really, really, really impressive in that, and just just getting around the park. I was crunching. I could feel it. I was like, oh, watching it. It's like watching a boxing match at times. The physicality of it was incredible. What I think was always difficult, was their speed of defence, how quickly they come up, and for Gwalia possibly work on, and how you learn to cope, speed of response, if you like. And that said, I think we didn't do a bad game on the whole with our tactical kicking either. So it's really thinking about how you defend that.
Yeah, it's hard. It is hard. It's interesting though, because if you think about it, it was what, 33-3 at half time? It was something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then final score 44-10.
Yeah,
I'll take that. I'll take that. I really will.
Sian and I have decided to scrub the first 10 minutes from the record. Actually, Wheeled Rugby, this was a 70-minute match that started at 10 past. Yeah, they're perfectly respectable score.
Well, I kind of feel like that would be a little bit. I mean, you got to say also that we were a little bit lucky that I think the conversions were missed. Quite a few conversions were missed. So I think they scored 7 tries and only a couple of conversions, I think, wasn't it?
I thought it was 2 conversions, but I might be wrong.
I thought it was 2. Yeah. So we were a little bit lucky there.
Yes.
I mean, have to hold our hands up there, and it could have been worse. It could have been worse with that.
Yes. Our set piece held up well. I think it was getting stronger and stronger. Occasionally, we've talked about the line out being an area to work on, but didn't really feel so on Sunday. I think there was one scrum against the head right at the end, but
I don't count that one. Seriously.
No.
It was 80 minutes. It was at 80 minutes when we substituted half the team. I was impressed with the scrums. I thought the scrums went really well. The scrums went really well. The lineouts were really solid. The lineouts were much better.
They were, and I think all credit to Lily Terry, who didn't get mentioned a lot in dispatches, and I don't think we've mentioned her yet. But again, great lineout force, very secure on the ball, and did also put an effort in the park. I have no doubt she had a high work rate.
She works very hard. Works very hard. Yeah, like the pack did. They did stand up to them.
Oh, 100%.
It was tough. It was. They are such a hard side to play.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm sure they'll have learned a lot from that kind of physical aspect, really. Nikita Prothero as well was also a big force for us. It's such a shame Courtney wasn't an option for us, because I think I'd like to see her in a match like this and see what she could have achieved. But for me, Nikita, I think was great. And I know you must have thought that because you made a reel about her. So
I did make a reel about her. I was well impressed. Are we going to talk about individual top performance for Gwalia?
Perhaps you should mention the score at the end, which was a nice little consolation prize for us, I guess, at the end. Do you want to talk us through what happened?
Yeah, so we had been hammering the Wolfhounds line, and they were just defending and defending and defending. The defence was insanely good. However, we did also have quite a few offside penalties, and even the commentators were saying, "Ooh, it might be a penalty try," etc. Sorry, that's my really bad impression of the commentators. But Chloe Thomas Bradley did actually get over the line, and my gosh, only one try, but we had to work hard for that try.
Oh, yeah.
They made us work hard for that. Really did.
They were defending it like their lives depended on it. Wow. I mean,
possibly a little bit illegally. I mean, the referee was playing quite a few advantages to Gwalia, to be fair. But yeah, Chloe did really well for that score. I'm so glad they did score, because I was a little bit concerned that we wouldn't. I was really hoping that we would get a bonus point out of that game. I think that was more realistic to me than the win. So I think that was my disappointment.
Yes, me too. I think I said on the podcast last time, oh yes, we should be targeting a losing bonus point. And I still think that was right. And I think there's some disappointment. And I think if we talked purely about the first half, I'd have said out wide, they clearly had an advantage over us. But perhaps in the second half, they still had an advantage, but we were closing in on the gap. We were improving there, but there's perhaps still a work on.
I think that's fair.
still a work on for us around that. One thing I would like to see for next year, by the way, I'm segueing something, is it's being able to hear, it's being able to have a TMO for the games. I think a TMO might help.
I'd quite like a mic on the ref.
Yes.
There are a few times, particularly on Sunday, I think he was having a go at one of, I can't remember which Wolfhound player it was. I think she back chatted and he was telling her off, and I would have been quite interested to know what all that was about, because I'm quite nosy.
It was like one of those Italian mime things where you could see the gestures, but you couldn't really see what was wrong for some times. I think it was a right telling off, but I think it was a bit niggly in that sense. I think there was a bit of niggle out there.
There was a bit of niggle because the two top sides at the time, and I think for Wolfhounds, they probably want Gwalia to give them a challenge.
Yeah.
And I think they probably also want it not to be Clovers as well.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a bit niggly. I quite like a little bit of niggle though.
I do. I never thought, I mean, if you haven't watched the game, dear listeners, don't worry, you're not going to see a 30-woman brawl and everyone sort of piling.
Unfortunately. Sorry. Oh God. Am I advocating for violence now? I better. Well, I'm not advocating for violence.
It wasn't a 30-woman brawl, and there was never anything like really, really outrageous, but there was clearly a lot of little bits of niggle and shrugging of shoulders and you can't believe that ref type stuff. And I think it's just a measure of the intensity of it all. And
exactly.
So much. It really feel like every tackle meant a lot to both sides. It's not one of those, there we are, playing to the end of the day. When's the game up, Rich? It's all really fierce throughout. And I love that. I'd like to bet a score, if I'm honest, but I love the fierceness, and hats off to all the players from both sides for that.
Yeah, I agree. We want these games to mean something. We want the players to be passionate about that, and this is the great thing about the Celtic Challenge, is I think the teams are buying into it in that sense.
Yes, and I also thought in the second half, more generally, just sort of wrapping up really for Gwalia, it was good that there was some squad rotation and experience for some of the younger players. I think we emptied the bench. It looked like we did, and that was the right thing to do, to give everybody some experience. And lots of them will have had really valuable experience with that. And I never felt anything really stepped backwards from that either. So hats off to people coming in and running into the breach. And I thought there were a number of players, people like Isla McCullen, and Lily Hawkins, seemed to get better and better in the game. Palmer will have had valuable experience, I'm sure, and I also thought you could see her developing in the game actually, and giving it some sticks. So long may that continue.
Yeah, I thought Palmer had a good first start.
She did,
involved in the game, didn't seem very phased by it, and that's what we want to see. If you like, I mentioned it earlier, for players like Isla McCullen, that's the closest you're going to get to playing international rugby against Wolfhounds. It's such a great test. And you can go into that game, okay, the result wasn't great for us, but there's so much you can learn from that game.
Yeah.
So much.
Oh, 100%.
And that's what it's all about, effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there are things up for grabs. Sean Lynn was watching in person, looking rather cold, I thought, at one point. I think he looked like.
Oh, I love Sean Lynn.
Yes, we do. Hats off to Uncle Sean. Joking aside, people will listen. It's a time to put your hand up and be counted, and I'm like, hats off to everybody who did that. Really, it's all credit to them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's such a great experience for the players, and it is disappointing. And I think Bryony said it after the match. Like, they know that they can play better than that. They know that. They know that. The players know that. And it's a cliche. Oh, one of my old cliches again. It was just a bad day at the office. And those kind of experiences, you can learn so much of them. You can just turn them around into so many positives, because you learn about what you need to do. And you could look at that and say, okay, I did this. I didn't sleep well, or I trained too hard, or whatever. It could be that your preparation was perfect and it was just one of those days.
Yeah.
But you learn that. You learn so much, they're invaluable.
You do. It's a benchmark, isn't it? It gives you some feedback on where you stand. Wolfhounds are a better side than Gwalia, but do I think that gap is so insurmountable we'll never close it? No, it's definitely closable. I think we're just clearer on what that pathway is now from that. And I think what's encouraging is the strength and depth we're developing.
Exactly. And I still maintain that we have improved a lot since last year.
Yes.
It could be that Wolfhounds have also improved. And, you know, that's going to happen. But there's still, we have to concentrate on what we can do and how we can make sure that we're improving and we're constantly improving and learning.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think we are doing that. So there's still loads of like positives to take.
Yeah.
I'm dying to talk about the positives because I still think there are positives to take. Should we talk about individual efforts, individual performers?
Yeah, let's go for it.
So obviously I'll get this out of the way because I always think Bryony plays well. I thought Bryony played really well. She didn't play the full match, but the first half in particular, I thought she was outstanding. Which I'm very pleased because Sean Lynn was there.
Absolutely. And she was commanding. She was everywhere. Bryony. She's so physical. We all know she's such a strong, tough player. And oh boy, you needed someone like that against Wolfhounds. But she was a right inconvenience to them, and she was part of everything good that Gwalia did while she was on. And leadership. She just what's the phrase I'm looking for? Completely lead by example. Just really never took a backward step. So kudos.
Always. And that could have got a lot worse. We were 15 points down after 7 minutes. That is where the leadership comes in. And we did sort of, you know, pull it together a little bit in the second half and damage limitation. So that to me is a good sign of the pack and also of her leadership.
A good captaincy, because although, as we said earlier, it was niggly, and we've said earlier, oh my God, it was physical. I could feel the crunches from back in Cardiff, to be honest with you. We didn't get dinged for a lot of silly penalties and sort of.
No, we didn't.
It was a very disciplined performance, despite the physicality.
I think our discipline has improved. I definitely think
it has.
Last year we would have conceded some really stupid penalties.
Yes, which I don't think there were any, or hardly any, or
really.
Not
really.
So,
no.
You know, huge. So Bryony for me. Noticeable that Bryony also got a lot of positive mentions from the commentators.
I know, and they are right. I'm going to say this, Sarah. I'm sorry. They're a little bit biased.
Just a tad.
They don't really praise the Welsh players much, but they were praising Bryony or Brioni or Brodoni or whatever they were calling her. I don't know. They just make up names. They called Sian Jones Cyanne, okay? And I'm going to say this because my name is Sian and I get called Cyanne a lot. So I nearly fell off my chair when they said that.
Yeah, I had a hard time with Cyanne, partly because I know it drives you nuts and it drives me nuts. But also, let's tell everyone you haven't done any research on Gwalia, shall we? By calling them all the wrong names.
I would be the first person to admit I'm really bad at pronunciations, but if it was my job, I would probably learn it.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I thought, so Bryony was great. Molly, also great.
Yeah.
Molly is just playing out of her skin at the moment. And again, it was tough for her, but she just stuck in it.
Yep.
Physical, just everything.
Yeah.
Allow again. And again, it was a tough game for her as well. She wasn't going to get the same opportunities that she probably normally does, but she just did not give up. And she saved a try as well.
Absolutely. She was still even to them, even when she was being double tackled by Linda Dugang and stuff, and she nearly ripped the ball again. She caused them problems, Ala.
She definitely caused them problems. And it's interesting you mentioned Linda Dugan or Dugon. I don't know how you pronounce it. Again, I'm not very good, but it's not my job. I will learn better, I promise. Linda and Erin King weren't massively. I was expecting to see them more prominent in the game, and I think Bryony, I think Catherine Stewart, I think Amano, and I think Lady Terry, Allow, Tilly, they contained those big stars pretty well.
They did. Again, if the commentators only go by, Erin King and Linda Durang didn't get mentioned that often.
No, I mean, they were doing a lot of hard work, you know, that does get unseen a little bit. Don't get me wrong. I wish we could have the stats for that game alone, because I would love to know those kind of details that you don't always get the true picture when you're watching, and unseen work that's going on. You know, the Catherine Stewart's in there, and I'm sure that Erin King and Linda were doing a lot of that, and you know, but I still maintain that we kept them reasonably quiet, which I thought was really pleasing.
Yeah, 100%. Isla Macmillan for me as well. That's a great run. Scott stuck in would definitely be one of those sorts of newly emerging players that really came out strongly.
She grew in the second half, didn't she?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Obviously, we've mentioned Jenny Scones. I thought was really good in the first half. Palmer did well on her first start. Lily Hawkins. But yeah, I think the player of the match for Gwalia had to be Nikita Prothero. I thought she was outstanding. She just didn't do anything wrong. Everything she did just seemed to be the right choice. Everything, you know, in those days, sometimes in sport where everything you do just comes off. It was a bit like that. But she's been playing really well all season for Gwalia. Yeah.
She had a couple of loads of really good moments. I really enjoyed the reel you put together. There was a break she made.
There were more than that, to be honest, in the reel. In the first half, I like this tactic that Gwalia have of the kick and the chase.
Yes.
But we are really good. That's a really great tactic. And there were so many times when we were putting pressure on them, and we did it against Wolfhounds, and the tackles that Nikita's putting in. There was a lot of that.
Yeah, she was really fierce in the tackle. I'm glad you agree. She was my player of the match. Sorry, Bryony, for Gwalia now. Sorry, Bryony. Very, 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 very close. But Nikita was for me. I think she linked up well with Kath Richards as well. And again,
I think she does everything really well. She didn't really get the chance on Sunday, but she was assist queen in the earlier games.
Yep.
She's becoming quite an important player, and I think it was typical, really. Right, I think it was on 80 minutes. I remember because when I was making the clip, and she had that insane tackle.
Oh yeah,
she's been playing 80 minutes, and she's still putting in that tackle. It's the fitness, it's the commitment, it's the not giving up.
Yep.
I honestly can't see her not being picked for Wales in the Six Nations. I don't want to jinx it, but I can't see it not happening. Oh, I think I said it in the first podcast, actually, that she's just, I don't know, there's something about her. I just think that she is absolutely smashing it. And she's got she's got an edge to her, which I think I'm excited to see her in a Wales shirt. Wales jersey, sorry, before Dad will tell me off. They're jerseys, not shirts. Sorry.
I agree. There is something a little bit of the firecracker there, the edge that she's really got, and the hunger. I just love, and I feel she's growing with each game. Actually, she's getting a bigger and bigger asset for us. So hats off to her. Also, I'd just like to say, get well soon to Tilly. She had a great game. She was so fierce. Offered herself up loads. I mean, someone who's just very, 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 very physical and put herself in there. Unfortunately, it looks like she's had quite a nasty injury. She looked a little winded and upset and out of sorts later on in the match. And then in the next play afterwards, emerged from the bottom of the ruck, not looking in great shape. We don't
like her shoulder to me. It looked like a bash on her shoulder. I really hope it's not.
She looked quite distressed, and we don't know how she is. One hopes it was just something she could recover from quickly. We were worried it's not. So get well soon, Tilly. You were also awesome, and we really appreciate the effort. And we need you back for the Six Nations, so hurry up and get well soon.
Yeah, I hope she's okay.
Yeah, very much so. So yeah, no, appreciate that. I do think there were, leadership moments from Bryony. Were there any other leadership moments that you saw? Was there anything else you'd highlight in that area?
I think they've got quite a good leadership throughout the team, to be honest. I think they've got players now who are doing that. Nikita, that to me is showing sort of that leadership, lead by example. It's those kind of moments to me is also leadership.
Yep.
And the way that they did stick together and they did hang on in there, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the leadership must be working across the team, because it still felt it was working well, even when the bench had been emptied and all the subs were on. Did I feel, that game's gone to pot now, or they're all playing weirdly and differently now? No, it still felt very cohesive.
I feel like it has to, though. I've always thought this: the best teams are usually the teams yes, they've usually got a good leader and they've got a good captain, but it's not just on one person. You need sort of leaders throughout the team. 100%. And I've always thought Gwalia have had that. I've always thought that.
Yeah.
And they do. They still have that, and it was still showing on Sunday.
definitely. Who do you think will be better for the experience?
You mean players?
Yeah, absolutely. Who do you think has grown, the most improved player, the most that the players will take the most from it?
It's a good question. I think possibly they'll all learn stuff from that. Probably more of the younger players.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all really young. This is the mad thing.
No.
You know, if you look at the more senior players like Bryony and Jenny Scones, they'll learn because they just will, because they're good enough, you know, they've been around long enough. But I would probably say the younger players will be learning more from that experience, definitely.
Yeah.
Because did we make mistakes? Yes, we did.
Yeah.
It's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
You just have to learn from them.
Yeah.
I sound like one of those really naff people who have got like a self-help book to sell. Oh yes, listen to my new podcast on self-help. Lost my mind again, sorry.
And I think for me, so wrapping up the second half, the fact that we scored a try, I don't know, 78 minutes or something like that, right in the death. It didn't matter, that try, but they played that for their prize and they will have got something from that. And they overcame them in the end after pretty intense 10 minutes of play when there must have been lactic acid in the legs in the moment. And they still did it.
It did matter. I know it didn't matter for the score, but it did matter.
Oh yeah.
Wolfhounds would have been really pissed off that they conceded that. They're probably caning them or beasting them now in training this week.
Yeah, run up that extra hill. Yeah, absolutely. And Jodie, in her first start, then takes the conversion right on the death as well, which is always nice. Have the guts to do that. I think sometimes we fans forget how difficult it is to kick under pressure. He's so exposed, so it's always good that people do that.
I know. I always think I could kick that, and then I'm like, Sian, could you with like a camera up your bum?
That's a nice mental image you've left me with there, Sian. I should enjoy that. Good sharp kick with a camera.
Oh God,
bless you. So where are Gwalia right now? Having thought about all of that, taking a little zoom out, where do we think that leaves Gwalia's progress, and what does the result tell us?
I don't think we should panic. And I think it is a bit easier. It's easy to be like, oh no, we lost by 44 points to 10. We're terrible. We're not terrible. We haven't suddenly become a bad team overnight.
Nope.
So I think the point is not to panic and to focus on these key areas. The scrums and lineouts were much better. Wolfhounds are the best team. And that's a fact. They are an extremely good team. They stopped us from playing.
Mm-hmm.
Other areas that we need to work on? Yes, there's always areas to work on. We need to learn how to try and break these teams down. But I don't think we should really panic at all. There's so much to play for at this side of this season. No, we can still make second place.
Yeah. And we mustn't lose sight of that. And that would be progress on last year, despite the fact that all the teams have improved, all of them. And that's not a goal that's beyond us at all.
No. One thing I think that we maybe need to work on is this whole, are we a second half team? Are we we're not quite firing on all cylinders in the first half of matches. That's an area to look at. Because when we do come against a team that's better than us, we're up against it. Because if we're gonna struggle in that first half, it's going to be too much to come back on. Stuff like that, I think, is key to look at as a collective. I think.
Yep. I
don't know what it is with things like that. It's really interesting. I've played in teams like that, and I can't tell you why it happens.
I think there's more capacity to come from our backs still. And I saw some glimmers of some really good stuff with sort of prearranged moves on Sunday, which is encouraging, and I think there's more to do. Although Gwalia generally pretty settled, I think
it'd be nice to have Kelsey Webster back. It'd be nice to have her back in the mix. I think.
Yep.
I think we've missed her I think we've missed her a little bit.
Yep.
She hasn't played the last couple of games. She's such a physical, abrasive player and
Yep.
quite explosive. I hope I assume she's injured. I hope she's back soon because I think we have missed her a little bit. It'd be nice to have her back. It'd be nice to have Sian Jones back. I think she can make a big difference.
Courtney Greenway coming back will make a difference. Nia for Jason, I hope she comes back soon because she's obviously got something to offer as well. So, you know, I think really,
we're missing a few players, and obviously we are always going to start losing players to the PWR teams. That's a reality, which is why that it's important that we have that depth.
Yep.
And we do have it. It's just a case of we've probably also had a bit of unlucky injuries pop up. It's a shame that Nia for Jason got injured so early in the season because I think she showed such a small. I think it was only 20 minutes or 30 minutes she played or something. Was it or just a half of the match? Or?
It was a half because I think she got a nasty injury as more or less the first play of the second half. So
she's got so much potential, and yet we've been robbed of seeing her grow and learn in these games. So yeah, it would have been nice to have seen her, but she'll be back. They'll all be back.
Yeah, they will. Maybe Clover's next, but more on that later. Shall we do a very quick update on Brethon? What happened with Brethon?
They won. Woohoo!
We're very pleased about that. So it's their first win in round 6 against Edinburgh. What I would call quite a nervy match for both sides playing not to lose at times.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of describing it, isn't it? I think both teams are like, oh, we don't want to lose. Fair play to Brethon.
Oh yeah.
They've had it's tough because the fixtures for them, I think they've had like a lot of the harder games for them first. It is tough. It is. They should have beaten. I'm not going to forget that match in Cardiff House Park. They should have beaten Clovers. And yeah, I think they've got more talent than their results show.
Yes, absolutely.
So I was really stoked for them to win that game, and I love that Stella Oren scored as well because she is fast becoming one of my new favourite players.
Oh, I love Stella.
I love her.
Yeah, she's from that.
She is awesome.
Welsh props. I absolutely love it. Rian Bowden again was really strong. Branwen Metcalf growing and developing.
Sarah Singleton as well.
Oh yes. I think Fionn Williams was player of the match. It was a cracking watch. Yeah. It was a cracking watch. It still had an element of thriller throughout, but I think the right team won. I did ask myself a controversial question: does this mean that Edinburgh are a weaker team than we were giving them credit for, or is it sort of more about Edinburgh perhaps were having up against it psychologically on the day? What do you think? I think it's the latter, but it's a good question to ask.
I think Edinburgh are a strange team.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're better than they were last year. I've had this argument with Leslie, our Scottish rugby fan, and she just thinks the Scottish teams haven't improved from last year, but I think they have. I think they are better than they were last year. I think it's a bit psychological. I think they've had a few losses. I think last week would have been a bit tough for them.
Yeah.
I think the pressure was on them to win, I think they thought, oh, we've got to win now.
Yes, I think so.
And I think it got to them a little bit psychologically. I think they've got some good players. They've got some good players. They've got a lot of potential. But so are Brethon.
Yes.
And, I want Brethon to win, so I'm, happy. But Edinburgh are a strange side.
Yes. Well supported. It was very noisy. It felt like I understand from the commentary there was a big crowd there. And maybe it was one of those things where it's the pressure of the crowd roaring at everything. Maybe it was quite an experience. But a great match, and I'm really pleased to see that Brethon have got off the starting blocks. So in what's rapidly becoming a new little thing every episode, what's your hot take of the week then, Sian? I'm sure you've got something.
Does this have to be rugby related?
Nah, go for it. What are you going to come up with?
No, it is rugby related. It's not Celtic Challenge rugby related though.
Ooh.
Don't worry, it's not men. Don't worry. My hot take, women's rugby hot take of the week is Emma Singh is the best fullback in the world.
Woo!
I just think she's awesome. The first time I saw her play in the flesh was when we saw England beat Wales at Cardiff House Park a few years ago, and she was outstanding. I thought she was just brilliant in that game. the kicking. She was just brilliant. And she's so much a better player now than she was then. Oh my God, I was just watching it. When every time I watch her play for Gloucester, she's just...
Oh, she's fabulous.
Her kicking success rate is like 80-odd%. Like everything she does is brilliant, I think.
She is.
And as a fullback, I'm talking about now.
Absolutely.
Specific to that fullback role, I don't think anyone comes close to her.
I was just
That's my hot take.
I think she's the complete player. My daughter loves watching her play. She was shocked. She said, "Why is she not on the first team for England?" She's like,
but also Ellie Kilden is also the greatest playmaker in world rugby. So I can understand the issue. I'd probably put Ellie on the wing, but I don't think she'd like that. She's gonna like send hitmen round to me now. I don't think she wants to. I think she just fullback. I'm gonna be fullback.
If Sian is replaced in the next pod, you'll know why. There we go.
You just have like a cardboard cutout. Although they wouldn't know. They wouldn't even know because they can't see.
So that's your hot take. Excellent.
Yeah.
I loved Emma Singh. I think she's fab. And as you said, the complete player, and it's like amazing to watch. And I reckon she's going to get better still. She's not that old. There's more potential to just keep improving.
I wish she was Welsh.
Yes.
But never mind. We've got our own players coming through. We don't need them.
Absolutely.
So what's your hot take?
My hot take is, again, a bit England rugby related, which is that there's been a record announced this week in Scotland. Record number of tickets sold for a women's sporting event.
I saw, and that is awesome.
So Scotland are playing England at home, and they've got over 19,000 tickets sold, and we must be a month off because it won't be until April, I don't think, which is incredible.
They'll smash that. Because I think when Wales played England at the Millennium Stadium, it was similar. Like they say the totals, and then on the day it was way over what they said it was going to be.
Yeah, and I just think it's fantastic. Can you imagine like a major women's international at Merrifield, and it's got the atmosphere that's going to have. Like the game at an international level is just going from strength to strength. So I was chuffed with that.
Yeah, it's great news.
Must be loads of England fans going to achieve those numbers as it was for the Wales match, and that's great. But you know, it's a fair old trek if you're a London fan to go up to Scotland. So that's a incredible thing, really. And long may that continue. I'm looking forward to Six Nations.
Are we going to end up going up to Edinburgh for the Celtic Challenge final? We probably will, won't we?
Probably will, yes. I don't think we're going to get press tickets, though, not unless we do a lot of podcasts. But a girl can dream.
I'm going to have to stalk Catherine Helleth again, aren't I?
I'll leave that one with you. Your best place.
Just wait outside the Scrum 5 studio and say, please, could I have tickets? Yes, that's awesome. Really, really good.
So looking ahead, what do you think Gwalia take forward from this? And bearing in mind, our next game is Valentine's Day. Clovis.
Sorry. The team we love on Valentine's Day.
Well, I was going to make a joke about the Valentine's Day massacre happening to Clovis, which is very inappropriate. So perhaps we'll stick with your version of events.
We might have to cut that bit out.
Okay, so should we do that again then? So
no, I was joking. I was joking about cutting it out. I'm not going to cut it out. We'll leave all of this in because it makes us look insane. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because we haven't had many home games. I feel like we've had nearly all away games, to be honest. I know we've had 2 home games, but the Cardiff Arms Park game is a weird one. But I'm really looking forward to it. We have to win this one. I think we have to try and aim to win this one, and I think we can. I think we can win this one. It's going to be a tough game though because Clovers are a good side.
100%. You couldn't make this up really if you were trying to come up with a plot of the movie. So Gwalia will have a point to prove after Sunday, and will want to show that that scoreline doesn't reflect them. Clovis is already kind of must win if you're thinking about where you land. So for Gwalia to come second in the tournament, improve on last year, really they've got to beat Clovis, I would say. And also likely with a fair wind. So I'm assuming that it's likely it's a second v third playoff is between Gwalia and Clovis. So we want bragging rights going into that. And also we lost only by 4 points over in Ireland at the beginning of the season, so there's a point to prove from there. So it's all really coalescing about that.
I agree.
And that's even without me saying it's about time Wales got an island scalp in the Celtic Challenge. So it's all coming back to this game. Not to put too much on it, lads, but hey.
Clovers have been a bit of a strange side this year. They're not firing like they did last year.
No.
And okay, they were second to Wolfhounds last year, but I don't know. I feel like they're not playing the same kind of fluid game.
They've been rattled by Brython and arguably they were lucky to win that. I think Glasgow and Edinburgh have both had good efforts against them, by no means out of touch. Then, of course, Gwalia have only beaten them by 4 points, and again, if there'd been another 5 minutes in that match, I think you'd have fancied Gwalia to come out the winners. So they don't come back, Clovers don't come to this with this huge...
They're not in great form like
Wolfhounds
are they? However, what I would say also is I'm now weary of the Irish backlash because, well, we did suffer on Sunday for an Irish backlash, didn't we?
Yes.
I mean, not just that, Wolfhounds are a really good side, but there was an element of that having to perform. Clovers won't take Gwalia lightly, I guarantee you, the same way Wolfhounds didn't. So, there is a lot on this game. I think it is going to be a hard game. Before Sunday, I was like, oh yeah, we're going to take them at home. I think it's going to be really hard.
Yes.
Although I think that they are our best chance of beating an Irish team. Yeah, I just don't. My issue is more I just don't know what to expect from Clovers. They've been a little bit unpredictable in that sense.
Yep. I think if Gwalia can score first, I think it'll be harder and harder for Clovers.
We need to be in it by half time.
Yeah.
It needs to be close at half time.
Yeah. And I think you'll need that discipline that we pretty largely showed at Wolfhounds. We've got to be really tight with our half-backs and have the right half-back pairing. Need Sean Jones back.
It is Wolfhounds on a slightly different level because again, Clovers they do that stuff that the Irish teams, and I said it. The men and women Irish teams are really similar. They're really good at rucks and they're really good at that fast ball. And Clovers will have that as well. So those areas, the same that were key for Wolfhounds, are going to be key.
Yes, and I think one thing that for Gwalia is being able to respond quickly to situation, having a plan A, a plan B, and probably a plan C, and being able to flip between certain.
We know they can do that. They've done that in previous games. They have that in them. It's whether Clovers can stop Gwalia from that really effective offload game that is so successful for them, because that's essentially Wolfhounds just snuffled that out and we couldn't play.
Yes. But I think we have to break
scrums, line outs again, and also we need to be clinical.
Yeah,
but I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah. We'll have to bring our dad. He's quite good for shouting purposes as well. That'll be good to take.
God, the three of us shouting.
Our challenge, we'll try and win Gwalia a penalty. I reckon we could do
it. Done it before.
You have.
Done it before.
I do hope people can come down for that game, actually, because if you're there or thereabouts, it's cracking fun.
The players have said, and also the players have said how good it is when the crowd get behind them. I think it was against Edinburgh at Ystrad Myneth. They said how the crowd were pushing them along. If we can get a decent crowd against Clovers, it could make a difference. It could give us those few extra points.
Yep.
I just wish the WRU would market these games better. Sorry, I didn't say that.
As is the timing, really, because it would have been Brython are playing at home that weekend as well, but they're playing half an hour before or half an hour after Gwalia, so we can't do both games. But I'd quite like to have done that, ideally, that weekend.
I can't wait to go to Parky Cutlets again.
Yes, just for the benefit of listeners. So, one of the commentators struggled with the Welsh.
Irish commentator. Sorry, again.
Well, I was being polite. One of the commentators struggled with the term Park Scarlets and was coming up with some very interesting variations, which Sian and I have now capitalised upon, and it's now Parky Cutlets.
So we just renamed it Parky Cutlets now.
Which is a lovely.
No offence to any Scarlets fans, because I actually love and yeah, just call it Parky Cutlets now. I love Parker Scarlets.
We
It's
love
great,
Parker
great
Scarlets.
stadium.
Fabulous. Yeah, so we'd love looking forward to going there. I guess the season ends, I think, with Gwalia playing Brython at Park Scarlets.
Well, then there's the playoffs.
Correct.
Yes.
So yes, all looking forward to that. And I guess just in terms of like wrapping up, we're thinking about, you know, games like this show you where you are and help you point you in the right direction. So you know, I'm sure Kat and the team, even though they don't have the resources of Wolfhounds, will be thinking very much about that. And there's definitely lots of pathways through to help Gwalia grow and build in the future.
We're not suddenly a terrible team.
Nope.
But these matches sometimes happen. I hate it, but we will be back.
They make you appreciate the wins all the more. That's what I say.
They do. They absolutely do. So I think that's wrapping up the end of today's exciting podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the episode. Please make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We are also on Instagram at Gwalia Gameline, so do please check us out there. I think we're going to start putting these onto YouTube as well. That'll be exciting. Also, if you're really into women's rugby, next week I will be recording a new episode for the Women's Rugby Treehouse. We did a ton of content last year for the Rugby World Cup. Oh my God, it was an amazing time. We had so much fun covering that. We will be back now next week for PWR, Celtic Challenge, any of the 2026 women's rugby, and we will be talking about the Six Nations coming up, which we are super excited about. So please go check us out. We are the Women's Rugby Treehouse. So next week, we will be taking a break because it is actually the refs week next week until our exciting Valentine's Day, not massacre, the Valentine's Day clash. So we will be back after that to discuss that game, more talking points, and obviously more Gwalia Lightning. So until then, thanks for listening.
It's goodbye from me and goodbye from her. Thanks so much. It's been a blast. We'll see you soon.